Hey everyone, welcome back to our Webflow Workout series. And we are starting a new topic this week. We're going to be learning how to build various style guides in Webflow, starting off with a basic style guide. So what is a style guide? It's essentially a page that you can have in your Webflow projects that helps you save different typography, color, essentially styling for any element that you'd use on your website, and having that consistently set up on a single page means that it's easy to reference as you continue to build your project. So as I said, we're going to be working on a basic style guide for this video and then build up on it over time. So I've already got like the building blocks for my style guide set up. To keep it really simple, I have my heading page row with like the heading for the actual section, so in this case typography, and then I have a page content div where I'm putting the actual content for that I want to style. So to start off with our heading, we have here H1, but as I'm sure you know, we have different heading classes that we can use. So from H1 to H6, so I'm just gonna select this heading and copy it and then paste it a couple more times until I have 6 headings. I think that's 6. And I've already put that in a div called page call. So if you duplicate the site, you'll be able to see as well. That's a flex box with vertical spacing. So that's why it's spaced out how I wanted it. So now that we've set that up, we actually want to go in and actually edit these heading styles. So I've already edited the H1 heading to be 2 rem, which is like 32 pixels. So essentially the idea is as you decrease in heading size or increase in heading number, the size of the heading decreases. So for H2, I'm going to click the settings icon and then just select H2 for it. Same thing with the third one, H3, fourth one, H4, fifth one, H5, and then H6. So you'll notice that the H2 heading is the same as H1 because I had already updated the H1 heading. So we want to go in and make sure that we make this a bit smaller. So by selecting that heading, I'm just going to click the style selector and then here you can select the HTML tag. So this will apply this change to all H2 headings that you use on your site. And I'm going to update that to like 1.75 rem. So it's a bit smaller than our H2 heading. And then I'm going to update the height as well. Great. Now that's all done. You can see that we have a beautiful cascading effect for our headings, which is exactly what we want. You can also always go in and update what the text says. So for example, if I wanted to write this is a H1 heading, then even when I'm looking over the page later on, it's easy to tell which heading it is automatically. But I'm going to leave that for now and then go over to the right where we have our paragraph copy. So same thing, we want to kind of duplicate this a couple of times. Maybe 4 times, and we want to kind of apply different sizes to these paragraph elements depending on what size text we want to use. So I normally start from text size large until text size small or text size tiny, just depends on the design for your site. So selecting this, I'm just going to go in and give it a, first I'm going to select all paragraphs and remove this margin and then I'm going to select it again and then give it a class of text size large. And then for our large text size, I normally like that to be around 20 pixels, which is around 1.25 rem. And then we'll kind of go in and apply different class names to the rest and then update the sizing. And yeah, we're done with our paragraph text. We have a small text size, regular, medium, and large. We're gonna duplicate this entire column. So where it says page container, duplicate it and create a new section called colors. And this is where we're going to go in and add our different color stylings. So I'm going to really quick just create a template of how I want my color styling to look at. Okay, so our colors grid is set up now, which is great. And that's just essentially a div block with a background color applied to it and then another div block inside for this text tag here that I positioned as absolute, so it stays on the bottom left corner. So our first color is just color red, or I could update this to anything really. Maybe I want to go with like this pinkish color, so I'll just call this color pink. And then even in our tag, we want to make sure to rename this to color pink. And then by selecting that, I'm just gonna copy paste. two more times. So let's say we have 3 colors that we're working with. And now selecting my second color, you want to make sure that you duplicate this class first, or you can create a combo class. I've seen both approaches, so it really just depends on how you use colors in your project. Is it a background color, a text color? We're going to keep things simple and just duplicate this class in this video. And I'm going to rename this to color blue, because maybe blue is our second color. So then I'm just going to pick a shade of blue, and then make sure to update this back to color blue. For our last color, once again, we'll duplicate this, and we'll call this color yellow. And then we'll just pick a yellow color for it. And then we'll update this to color yellow. And there we have our color style guide. So for the last section that we're going to do for this video, I think we're going to do one for icons, just because I think that's something. Okay, for the last row that we're going to be working with in this video, we're going to do one for buttons, because of course in any project you're probably going to be using buttons and have different styles for them. So once again, I'm going to select my page container and duplicate that, and this time we'll call this buttons, and I'm going to really quick rearrange the layout for this section so we can start adding in our button styling. Okay, so now we have our button section set up. You'll notice that I have, once again, a different layout for this. I have one with a white background and then dark background, and that's just essentially because with buttons, you have your primary, your secondary, and you also might have an alternative color which you would apply on a darker background. So it helps to kind of have that set up here in our style guide. So starting off with the light version, we're going to first of all give this a class, and we'll call this, actually we'll probably just call this button. We'll call this button. So this is essentially our default button, and all the other buttons that we work on are going to have combo classes. So we're going to make our primary button this royal blue, and we're going to increase the padding. I'm just going to go and like style this a bit more. Okay, I think that works for now. So this is our default button that we would use. Now you might have a secondary version of this button, which would normally just be a different color. But in this case, maybe we'll have the secondary one have an outline. Cool, so we have our secondary, and then for the last 2 buttons we're going to work on, I'm actually just going to make them the smaller versions. So for our alternative, so once again, I'm going to name this button, and I'm going to call this, I'm just going to say is alt. And obviously we want it to probably be white for the background, although the blue on this dark background actually still works. So in this case, it's not like a bad button even on a dark background. We're going to pretend it is though. So we're going to go in and make this white. Yeah. And then for our secondary, so first we're going to remove the is alt tag and then add in is secondary and add is alt. So you can see it's already applied the alt styling for my button because it's a combo class and it recognizes that I already have this particular styling applied to it. But what we actually want to do is not have that white background because that doesn't work, but we want to make text and the border white. And then I'm basically just going to go in and do the same thing for the small button version. And just like that, we are done. We have our alternative buttons and original buttons. And this is our basic style guide that we're working with. So this is a pretty simple style guide. Obviously, if your project is like pretty basic and you don't have much to it, this would work. But of course, as we go on for the next 2 sessions, we're going to be creating slightly more complex style guides that are probably more suitable for bigger projects that you're working on. But hopefully this was a good starting point for you and you can start working on your own style guides, or feel free to use this as a starting point. But until next time, bye.